All right, everyone. It is our 20th Town Hall of 2022. I just love keeping track of that number just to showcase just how consistent we've been with these live streams and just seeing so many new and familiar faces. So really excited for today's Town Hall. We're going to talk about a lot of how to use Evmux for virtual meetings and things of that sort. But before we dive in to any nitty gritty, Alad, how has your week been?
Great week. Very excited for this 20th Town Hall, man. 20th Town Hall.
Yep.
And look at Anthony with the new setup.
Yeah.
For the 20th Town Hall. I don't have a new setup. This is even too much for me. So hopefully that's sufficient. But yeah, man, very, very excited. Everything is crazy.
Yes, yes.
Congrats to the Celtics for beating the Heat.
Oh yeah.
Although I'm a Heat fan because I live next to Miami, so I'm sad. But yeah, it's going to be amazing finals,
Yep.
and that's it. Let's kick it off. Anthony, how
Yeah.
was your week, man?
Week was good. Like I said, it's just constantly just continuing to communicate and meet with new people that are utilizing Evmux. It makes me so happy to see new people where like I hop on Instagram and I see somebody share a story saying they're utilizing Evmux, or go on YouTube and you see a new video. It's always great to see other people discovering Evmux and falling in love with what it has to offer. And this is what kind of motivates us to keep investing in the platform, to keep investing in building it. So, but overall, it's been a great week, and I'm super excited for the Game 1 finals tonight, Golden State versus Boston.
Tonight.
Look, come on, I'm waiting for Golden State to win. But
you know, it's a nice thing to mention that I know that there is a new trend. For me, it's new. Maybe for others, it's not. That people like someone do live streaming, not showing the game because of IP rights, you know.
Right,
so you don't show the game,
reaction.
You talk on the game with people in the chat and reactions and things like that, but you watch it on your television.
It's
super nice.
A watch party. Nice. It's a watch party is what we call it. Watch party, and you get to communicate and engage. Those are really, really fun to be able to be a part of. So as always, definitely want to go ahead and welcome a lot of the people that are here. Student of the Word, thank you so much for tuning in. Darius, man, you've been a great help inside the Facebook group. Thank you so much for your participation. Appreciate you being here. Hustle T King Reaction, welcome. Shauna, Aran, Susan, thank you so much for being here. Mike, what is going on, man? Mike is actually a gamer, so I'm really excited, Mike. If you have questions and things we can do to help you, please do let me know. Shauna says, nice setup. Thank you. Just been kind of the same, just kind of rearranged everything. But first line, Paranoma, just went live with Evmux. Thank you so much for being here. Grandma Joe, thank you so much for being here. If it's your first time in our town hall, what we like to do is that we like to first focus on the topic of the town hall, which today is going to be about virtual meetings. We'd like to then showcase a demo of what that looks like, and then towards the end, which is our favorite part, where we take Q&A. So feel free to ask your question throughout, but we'll always go back and take the questions in the order that they were received and just start diving into those kind of questions there. Questions do not need to be related to the topic today. Can be anything Evmux that you need help with during your production. So with that being said, today we're going to focus on the speaker room, which is what we like to call as like what we use for our meetings, to be able to have guests and speakers backstage. It's just an overall great experience. So I kind of wanted to first, before we showcase the demo, talk to a lot and let you explain, why was, with all other tools, having the availability where there isn't just a space for guests and speakers or space to have meetings. Why was that something that we launched out of the gate? Why did you think of the speaker room as a needed necessity for users?
Yeah, great question, because it was kind of, a lot of brainstorming around that before we launched Evmux, when we just developed Evmux. Because as you said, other tools, usually they don't have a specific, let's call it a speaker room. It was basically their studio with speakers. They had less capabilities, but it was kind of the same. And for us, when we thought about launching Evmux and developing it, it was speakers, they need their own space. Okay, we don't want to intimidate them with a studio. It should be more of, because we want it to be as smooth and as easy as possible for the speakers. We want their experience to be amazing, because we always say you're hosting them. It's like when I'm hosting you at my home, I want you to feel as comfortable as possible.
Right.
So that's kind of the same thing. We want you to join the speaker room, and it will be like, okay, that's a meeting for me.
Yeah.
Okay, something very, very simple. I don't have any room for mistakes. And then it connects to the backstage mode, that you can talk freely even if you are not live. Right. You can mute the stage if you want to. The push to talk feature, that the editor producer can communicate with you anytime. Chat, everything is so easy in the speaker room, and it was extremely important for us to have it that way, and not intimidating speakers with a studio look and feel, because people not used to it. It's like, okay, what is it? What am I doing here?
Yeah.
So that's kind of, in short, why we came up in the first with the speaker room. And the version we have now is like the speaker room 2.0, right? Like the
Right.
second version of it. And we upgraded it dramatically about a month or two ago. And now, the speaker room is also phenomenal for virtual meetings. So not
Right.
only for live streaming, but also for virtual
Mhm.
meetings. And we just had a video, on YouTube on Monday describing that.
Yeah.
Pretty,
And that
pretty
was
cool.
triggered by one of our guests in the last town hall, where they specifically were looking for an alternative. We're looking to integrate Zoom into Evmux, and what ultimately ended up happening was that we described how you don't need to utilize Zoom or Google Meet to be able to accomplish that meeting. You actually get a better experience with less limitations directly inside of Evmux, which sparked the idea to be able to create the video demonstrating how Evmux can be your virtual meeting place for internal meetings, for meetings that you want to live stream or have even live stream them privately on YouTube, be able to record them, to save those downloads. There's just so much more opportunity that you have available inside of Evmux. So I think this is a great opportunity to be able to kind of showcase why we say, Evmux is perfect for virtual meetings, showcasing you just how fluid and easy it is to be able to use. And then we'll dive into a demo and some Q&A.
Sounds good. So enjoy the video, and please ask your question throughout, and we'll address all of them right after the video.
Yes, we will.
Enjoy.
All right. Virtual meetings are happening every single day, and you're most likely utilizing Zoom or Google Meet to be able to have those meetings. Well, after today's video, you're no longer going to need to be able to utilize those tools, as today I'm going to introduce you to the best free tool to be able to have your virtual meetings, and that's called Evmux, which gives you access to an unlimited amount of participants. There's no limit onto the amount of time you can have your meetings. You still get access to private and group chats. You can share your screen, share videos, and you can even go ahead and live stream and record these meetings with up to 12 participants on stage live. And you can stream that to multiple platforms like YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, Twitter, and so many others. So let's go ahead and jump into my Evmux account so you can see what this experience is all about. So once you go ahead and invite your participant to your meeting session, they're going to see a window just like this, giving them the opportunity to be able to check their camera, to be able to check their microphone, and even have some additional settings here where they can do some echo cancellation, noise suppression, to be able to give them the best quality possible during that meeting. And then once they're ready to go ahead and join the session, they simply go ahead and input the email that you invited them to and hit join broadcast. That's then going to go ahead and bring them into what we call the speaker room. So once you're here inside of the speaker room, this is going to be the experience that you're going to see as a participant. So you're going to see your main camera here in the center, and then you're going to see all the other participants who are also included in this session as well in this middle screen. So you can have an unlimited amount of participants, and they'll just be created as box layouts that you will be able to utilize and see in there, and everyone's able to go ahead and talk freely. Then here on the left hand side, you're going to see a preview of your camera as well. You're going to see the participants that are included in this session, and you're also going to see a live preview, and this is if you're going to go ahead and live stream or record that meeting. This is where you'll be able to see that live preview. Then here at the bottom, you're going to see some additional features like muting your mic, being able to disable your camera, turn it back on, and then you also have the option to be able to go ahead and change your camera, change your microphone, and have those additional settings that you had when you entered into the session. You also have the availability to be able to go ahead and share your screen. You can select an entire screen, you can select a window, or you can select an actual tab that you have open. You also can go ahead and share videos. So you can go ahead and grab this. It will allow you to bring it to your computer, and you can go ahead and share any video that you would like. And then of course here, you're going to have the option to be able to hide your group or your private messages to just make it a little bit easier to be able to see the participants who are here live with you. If you do want to be able to see that, you then have the option to have access to a group chat, and you can also go ahead and private message any of the participants that are here in the session here with you. Then if you are live streaming and going live, then here's where you'll be able to see all of the social comments from outside people coming in on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on YouTube, on any other social platform that integrates directly with Evmux. You'll be able to see those social comments here to be able to go ahead and engage with them. Then here at the bottom, you have your availability for your profile to be able to leave the room if you like. And then here, of course, if you prefer to have this in dark mode, you can go ahead and change this to dark mode. You can go ahead and and make this full screen if you like. And then of course you can go ahead and mute the stage, allowing you to be able to mute everyone who's on there, allowing you to focus on some deep work that you're currently doing. But this is going to be the best free tool for you to be able to utilize to be able to have virtual meetings. Now the beautiful thing is that Evmux is not just created for virtual meetings. Evmux is a web-based full stream live editor and recording studio that you're able to go ahead and utilize to be able to go ahead and create recorded or live content. So if you want to learn more about Evmux and all the features that are available for you, not only in the free plan, but what you can do with it to be able to level up the production of your meetings, your content, your live streams, go ahead and check out this video right here where I walk you through a full demo of all the features Evmux has to offer. I'll see you guys in the next video. All right. So you just got a look at how the speaker room works and just how intuitive it is to be able to start having your meetings inside of it. We saw a lot of questions coming in while we were watching the videos. And if it's your first time here, this is kind of a great opportunity to be able to see how we utilize live streams and pre-recorded videos to enhance the production of our live streams, right? So what you just watched was a pre-recorded video that was pre-recorded. It only makes it easier for us to demonstrate things a little bit better, even though we are going to jump into the speaker room here, sharing our screen to kind of talk about specific features that you may have questions about. So if you do have questions regarding the speaker room, please go ahead and share them. But we'll go ahead and start diving into some questions because this is kind of our favorite part. And a lot of times we always have questions that go without being answered. So the sooner we can get into them, the better. So we can kind of start from the top where we have a question from a student of the word that says, when I start my broadcast, it has a blank page until I switch over to my camera. Is there a way to not have a blank black page just sitting there before I switch over to my camera? How? So yeah, I'll let you answer this because you produce and you switch over. So go ahead.
I'll take it. So basically, pretty simple. On the dynamic scene, you upload the background. This background will be the default thing that, you know, because when we start streams, something should be streamed to begin with, okay? Until you do the first transition. So if you upload a background, this background will be the first one. Another thing we're going to add pretty soon is that you can kind of force which scene that you created will be the one to be streamed by default. But for now, the background in the dynamic scene, this will be the thing that will be shown, you know, in the first place until you'll do the first transition.
Yeah. So easy way, just create a scene, a background, and to just have it in dynamic, like your logo. It can be, the topic of what it is your live stream is going to be. And that way you have a little bit of a kind of like an intro before you transition over. So yeah, love that. So next question we have here from Susan says, will the invited guest for the virtual have all access controls at the start of meetup, or can you allow certain access at different points in the meetup? So that's going to be relating. So when you invite a speaker into your speaker room, they pretty much are more or less of a guest, right? They have the ability to be able to see, the live preview if you're going to go live, to be able to see the private and group chat if you want to, and then to be able to manage their camera, manage their audio, make it full screen, make it not. But as far as managing your production, they wouldn't be able to do it directly inside of the speaker room. What they could manage is that if you upload a PowerPoint and inside of Evmux and you want them to be able to manage the slides because they're going to be presenting that, then they can manage that aspect of it directly inside the speaker room. But if you do want them to be able to have access, then you simply, instead of putting them as a speaker, you make them a collaborator inside of your session for them to be able to have the same access that you have to be able to create scenes, to be able to change scenes, to be able to bring speakers on stage and remove them. But to answer your question in short, when you initially add a speaker, they're more like a guest with a little bit more functionality and a little bit more control and a better experience than just adding them as a guest utilizing the link. Anything to add to that?
Yeah, I'll just say that also if you are streaming to YouTube or Facebook and you get the comments, so comments that you are highlighting, your speakers will be able to see that within the speaker room to know that this comment was highlighted. So if it's a question, now Anthony is a speaker and I'm a producer, Anthony is seeing this question that I highlighted on the screen, which is very helpful. Of course, they have the chat, group chat, and private chat within the speaker room. And remember that we are trying intentionally to limit their capabilities in the speaker room to keep it simple. It's always this balance between simplicity and robustness, you can say that, and being robust for the speakers, because if it's too much, it's intimidating for them. We don't want that. So I think we are somewhere in this balance, in a good shape. But again, if you have any feedback on that and things you would like your speakers to be able to do, let us know. We are always willing to hear from you.
100%. And feel free to chime in inside the Facebook group as well. It's always a great opportunity. More and more every single day, new questions, new members, more participants, myself, a lot. And we're all in there responding to your questions, even community members that have experience in certain sectors, like Darius, who's very well versed in church and cameras and setup and all of that, that he's been a great asset to the group to be able to provide that information. So always participate there. Next question we have is from First Line. Says, I just went live with Evmux and had an issue with getting names on comments through Facebook, but hope to get all my questions answered tomorrow with a staff member. So I'm glad you're getting connected with one of us to be able to go through this. But did you want to go ahead and elaborate on this here, Elad?
Yeah, so on Facebook, that's a limitation on Facebook groups that the people, I mean, the Facebook users watching your live stream, they need to approve the Evmux app for themselves in order that their names will be presented as a comment. If not, the comment is going through to Evmux without a name. What we are going to add is that when you are streaming to Facebook as a broadcast channel, Evmux will add kind of a paragraph that explaining how to do that for your users. You will be able to adjust it. You will be able to delete it if you don't want to, but at least you will have it as an explanation, and that's going to help. This is something will be ready hopefully next week, because we've heard this feedback for a while, that people just they don't know if it's a limitation in Evmux, in Facebook, or how to deal with it. So it is a Facebook thing, and it is definitely something. It's not even solved. It's just a permission that you need to give Facebook to send over your name to another third-party platform. That's basically what it means.
Yeah,
and so we will explain how to do that.
Fix. It's a pretty simple process once it's set up. They just click a link. It'll say, hey, do you want to authorize Evmux to be able to get access to your information, which is just be your name and your profile picture. And then they click yes, they do it one time. And then that's pretty much it. For the life that they are part of your group, your Facebook, and a part of your live stream, they'll be able to have their names displayed. So no worries there. Then we have another question here. Let's see here. I'm very interested in switching over. Okay, so I said eBlack TV said, greetings, welcome. I'm very interested in switching over to your product, but I had some issues. Overall, I like the idea. So feel free to join us inside the Facebook group at facebook.com/groups/Evmux. We'll put it on the screen or even drop it inside the chat. Feel free to connect with us. Let's go ahead and troubleshoot it. It's what we like to do. A lot of the times, it may not be Evmux itself. It could come down to the browser. It can come down to certain extensions you have open, other applications that are also conflicting. So a lot of the times it can be a simple fix to some of the issues you may encounter. So if you jump into the group, get connected with one of us, share exactly what it is you're going through, and then we'll be able to go ahead and troubleshoot it with you to be able to help you. That way you can enjoy the product even more.
100%. Just to reiterate what Anthony said, we are available in any media to help for people to get better understanding of Evmux. So please do that. Please reach out to us.
Perfect question there. All right, so next question that we have here, it's going to be from Grandma Joe. Grandma Joe says, I am doing my very own first live June 11th, and I'm planning a test live with my Discord group. When I send them invites and bring them on, do I have to delete YouTube in order to record? Okay. So let me just make sure I did it right. When I go live, when I send the invites and bring them on, do I have to delete YouTube in order to record? So that's going to be more or less of a personal preference, because once you go live, you also get the option to be able to go ahead and record. So if you didn't want to live stream into YouTube, you do have the option to list it as private, which it gives you the option when you're scheduling YouTube. It tells you if you want it public, unlisted, or private. So you can do it private. That way it goes to your YouTube, that you can download it later if you want. That also saves the recording for you that way. But you also, when you go live, a button will come up and say, do you want to record this as well? You simply toggle that on and you can record. Now, if you don't want it to go to YouTube at all, you simply just click on the little button where you schedule it. You toggle it off. You don't have to delete YouTube, just toggle it off, letting the editor know like, hey, for this session, I don't want to broadcast to YouTube. But that way, next time when you do, you just toggle it on and you're good to go. And that way you're able to record without pushing to YouTube. So anything you want to add to that?
Correct. Another thing, first of all, 100%, as Anthony said, you don't have to delete YouTube.
Right.
You can if you want to, and you can also just disable it for temporarily, right? Only for a specific session. Another thing to add to that, it's maybe a good opportunity to say, we do recommend to stream to YouTube private anyway, just because it's another backup. Like we let you do that on top of recording within Evmux. Why not having another backup plan? Like, you know, just why not? It's free, it's private. You will have it on YouTube on top of on Evmux. Just do that. So I totally recommend for any of you using Evmux for recording purposes, stream to YouTube private on top of recording on Evmux. Just why not?
Great. Love that. So then I have here, next question that we have, so I don't lose track. Okay, next question we have is from eBlack TV. Says, I cannot find the option to change the name as the host. It shows my first and last name that I signed up with. So this is also a quick little fix. What you want to do is inside of your dashboard. So before you enter the editor, what you want to do is you want to click on your little profile icon. When you click on your profile icon, you're going to go to where it says, I think, settings or information. You'll quickly understand exactly where you need to go. And then in there, that's going to be your personal information. So that's where you'll change your first name, last name, add a title if you want for yourself, add your company name. You can add your company logo, your title for the company. That's where you would make all those changes, and then it would show live inside of the editor. So as far as your name goes, you don't do it inside of the editor. You do it currently right now inside of your profile account settings, where you handle your billing and handle your account information is where you would find that.
Yeah, and just to add to that, really soon we will add the feature to allow you to edit your name within the studio. Perfect. I totally get it. Like, it's not the first time people ask, and it is a bit confusing that you have to go back to the dashboard to change that. So it is going to be within the studio to change your name, change your whatever. Another workaround for that is, in case, I don't know, whatever, you're not able to do that within the dashboard, you can toggle off the lower thirds, because lower thirds takes your name, company name from the system, right? What you can do is to create a process and then disable the lower third, but add dynamic caption. Dynamic caption is basically a lower third that you can just fully design with any text and anything, basically. So that's another workaround, because you can take this dynamic caption and put the name and company name and job title or whatever you want without any connection to what we have in the dashboard. So just another workaround.
Yeah, I love that. I love the dynamic caption, because that's something that's also not utilized as much, and now realizing that you can, they're animated. So the dynamic caption is also animated, allowing you to be able to have animation to be able to still slide in, almost in a sense, creating a custom lower third. So I really love that idea. Wasn't even thinking about that. Love that. Then we have our next question is from, we see here, Jim Lawyer. Welcome, Jim. I see it's your first time here. It says switching to Evmux, became a basic member. Any update on multi-camera and hotkeys? I see you have a two-part question, so we'll address that one first. Pretty much multi-camera and hotkeys are high priority on the list of features to develop. They're already in the works. And what we always like to say is that we never have a definite date on when the tools or features are going to come out. But what we like to do is we like to stress test the features before we put them out. And when we talk about multi-camera and hotkeys, we try to go beyond, right? We try to almost, in a sense, kind of like future-proof of the feature and go a little bit deeper of saying, like, we don't want somebody to just add a multi-camera. Like, what features inside the multi-camera can we add to enhance the experience? So when you get that deep into the feature, it takes a little bit longer to be able to develop. But once it's developed, it's going to be well worth it, and you're going to enjoy it because there's more than just the regular just add a second camera in there. So that's in the works. So definitely stay tuned for that. And then your second question, Lottie, you can take this one here. It says also to have a produce co-host, I would have to upgrade, correct?
Correct. So the Pro plan supports co-host, and then it basically means, just for all of you watching to speak the same language, we mean that you will have not only one producer, but two producers on the same session. That's very helpful, mostly for backup. Okay, because if some producer, they have internet issues, so it's web-based, it means the stream doesn't go down. But if I don't have my internet, I cannot switch scenes and things like that, right? Because I cannot control it. And then my co-host can step in for me. So it's really helpful and really useful to have it, and it's available in the Pro plan. Definitely recommend anyone to use that. I think it's an amazing feature. And just to add what you said about the multi-camera, there is a workaround for now, because you can add the other camera as a guest to Evmux. I understand 100%. This is not the most smooth and easy process, and that's why the multi-camera feature is in the top priority. But for now, if you need it really urgently, this is the way to do it as a workaround. Add the other camera as a guest, and then you can do the switching.
And then you'll be able to switch. Yep, that is 100% a great opportunity there. So we have here a question from Grandma Joe. It says, with the meeting options, do you use dynamic rather than pro scenes, or both, depending on type of meeting?
I'll take that. So great question. And then I think it's important to understand kind of the flow between the meeting and the live stream. Okay. When you do the meeting and it's only a meeting, you haven't even gone live or recorded or something like that. It's simply a gallery view, backstage, let's call it. So it doesn't really matter if it's a dynamic scene or pro scene. For you as a producer, it means what you see, how the screen looks for you. So maybe you can just use the dynamic scene to add all the people to the screen to be able to see them clearly. Although you can also see them in the bottom, right, as sources. So it's up to you, just as visually how you prefer to see that. For your speakers, they see just a gallery view, okay, like a Zoom call, basically. Now, when you go live or you start a recording, this is when whatever switching you do as a producer, it affects the speaker room. And then if you have two people on stage and other people backstage, then the people backstage can talk, but people on stage won't hear them. So then it depends what is the purpose of this meeting. If it's just a meeting and you don't even go live, so basically it doesn't matter dynamic or pro, it's just for you how it looks. If it is on the purpose to record things and things of that sort, once you click on the recording or go live, whatever switching you do affects the live stream. So if you want all of them to talk together, just put all of them on stage. If you want to divide them for some reason, so some of them on backstage, some of them on stage, play with it.
Yeah, and I think that even with that right there, I think it would be a great opportunity just to kind of maybe even share the screen of the speaker room to be able to go ahead and just showcase once more what is the view that you actually see. Let me see. I think you can share your screen, or I can even share mine.
I think I can do that. Just a second. Let me see if it's ready. Yep, it is. It should be ready. Let me make sure that both of us there. Yeah.
All right, perfect. So you can see here that as a guest, when you join into the screen, this is what they're ultimately going to see. So they don't see the same editor that you currently see as a producer. They see a more, it's like a lot said, a more simplified viewing experience. And whatever changes you make inside of the editor, just as he mentioned, it's more related towards the live stream than more or less the speaker room experience. Treat the speaker room experience as you would a Zoom or Google Meet. No matter what, there's going to be a layout of the speakers that are displayed on screen, and everyone's able to communicate freely. So you can have a fresh Evmux account, invite a speaker, not have anything set up, and they're going to see this kind of experience here. Now, when you go live, that's where you want to focus on more dynamic and pro scenes, because now that's the live experience. That's where what you're currently seeing on YouTube is a lot utilizing pro scenes to be able to switch scenes, to put me on screen, to put him on screen, to share his screen. That's where that experience come in. But when you're talking about just utilizing Evmux for a speaker room experience, for just meetings, you simply just invite them to your session. They join as a speaker, and you can immediately begin the conversation talking directly with each other. So that's just how simple it is. There's no need for dynamic or pro scenes unless you're live streaming or recording a podcast or an interview session that you want different scenes and sessions to pop up. But the speaker will just always see this kind of experience here unless they're an editor for your session.
Yeah, and just because we are sharing, just to make sure we are all, aligned with what you can do in the speaker room.
Right.
So you see the session name here. You see that we are live because we are live, but if we are not, so it won't be there.
Right.
I can switch sessions because if I have an event with multiple sessions, so within the speaker room, as a speaker, I'm just moving between the different rooms. Super simple. I see myself as a preview. I see the participants list. I can see the live preview, how it looks on YouTube, whatever we stream to, or recording, like the final layout, which is very, very nice. And if we're not live or not recording, so I won't see anything if it's just a meeting. I have the chat here, group chat or private chat, and I can see what's coming from the social. So again, for speakers, it's super simple. And here, mute, unmute, camera on and off, configurations of my camera and microphones, share screen. I'm sharing my screen right now. I can share video on full HD, and also I can hide things. I can do it dark or not. I don't like dark, but that's
that's how I use it in dark. So
super, super nice experience.
And again, this is what you just saw is the speaker and the guest experience. So all the functionality that you saw there, your guests, your speakers are going to have access to those functionalities at their disposal. So it's not just from a producer standpoint. So that was a great question, and a great opportunity for us to be able to go ahead and share. So we have another question here from eBlack TV. Says, I cannot create a 2-person layout without having a guest already in the studio. Thanks. So love the product. Super happy you're loving the product. Love your questions, and it gives an opportunity for us to be able to address them and answer them. So I'll address the first question first, and then I know you probably have another solution as well. When you're talking about adding a guest, there's dynamic and there's pro scenes, and they're used differently. So when you're going to know, let's say, for example, Alad knows that I'm going to be a speaker at this next live stream, right? So what he's going to do, he's going to invite me as a speaker, and then I'm going to accept the invitation. And now I'm available for you in your editor to be able for you to create a pro scene layout of myself and you together, giving you 2 speakers, right? If you don't know who your speaker is going to be, but you just want to have a 2-speaker layout ready to go, then that's where dynamic scene comes in, right? Giving you the availability to say, okay, hey, I'm doing my live stream. I have a guest that wants to join in. Send them the link. They're going to be able to join from their mobile, from their iPad, from their computer. And then at the bottom, you're going to have predefined layouts that would allow you to select a 2-person layout. That way, as soon as that person joins in, you'll have a 2-person layout already ready to go. So those are the 2 use cases for it. And a lot, if you have a workaround for pro scenes, you can go ahead and share that.
Yeah, so that's basically it all comes down to the difference between dynamic and pro scenes.
Right.
Okay, dynamic scenes is like maybe the easiest way to go live very, very quickly. on the fly kind
Yeah.
of. You just share, you have the invite guest button, you just share this link among 100 people. Like the system, just think of the system doesn't know who are going to be joining to the live stream. So that means you cannot really create scenes ahead of time for those folks, because the system doesn't know, is it Anthony, is it Elad, is it someone else, who is it? Okay, so if you work with dynamic, super simple. Whenever they join, you add them to the stream. We have some sort of different layouts, and that's it. If you do want to prepare things ahead of time, and we recommend you to do that with the ProScene, then basically you need to create those speakers within the dashboard. Okay, add them as speakers. They get a unique link, and you already set up their name, company name, job title, email, and the system knows that those speakers are assigned to this session ahead of time. Then you can come to the ProScenes and create scenes with Anthony, for example. So yeah, Anthony is not connected to the system now, but there is kind of a placeholder for Anthony that you can place wherever you would like in the ProScene. Okay? The workaround, let's assume that you don't know exactly who is going to be your speakers, okay? But you do want to set things up ahead of time and then do some replacement. So I'll share my screen quickly to show you a very nice workaround to be able to do that. So just a second, let's make sure that we're sharing the right screen. And I'll show you something nice.
But I'm loving these questions. And if you guys are getting value from what you're seeing, make sure you like the live stream. It definitely helps to be able to share it out. But let's go ahead and demonstrate for you, Black, how you can go ahead and do this.
Yep. So you can create just a scene, okay, with whomever speaker you would like. Okay. I'll add a layer with any speaker that I have. So you'll need to create a speaker. It can be even just a fake speaker. Let's say yourself in another name or whatever. Okay, you see here I have something a lot, blah, 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 because I wanted to do something. I don't even remember why I did that. Okay, so let's add this a lot, blah, blah, blah. Okay, let's design whatever I want. Okay, let's position here and then maybe add a nice background. Okay, let's find a background. Okay, you are challenging me. Let's take this background.
A lot of videos there,
No problem. Put a lot on top of it. Let's assume that this is the design I want to have. And then let's say a week from now, I know who the speaker will be. I create this speaker in the system. I'll go back to the studio and I'll just click on replace. Very useful feature, this replace, because then I say, let's assume Darius, that he was a very honorable guest. And I want, the scene is ready, but I don't want Elad to be there. I want Darius to be there. So replace, boom. And Darius is here. I could design everything once I had time a week ago. And now after a week, I just one click of a button, I replaced Elad with Darius. That's it.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think that's very helpful for you. If you don't know who your speakers will be, you just want to create things and design them ahead of time, just create fake speakers. We don't limit you with how many speakers you would like to have. Design everything and then use the replace feature, which is phenomenal for this purpose.
Yeah. And one thing here that Grandma Joe just brought to our attention, what you're seeing right now, the live and the preview inside of the Evmux, that's when you go live. So once you're live, you're going to have that live view and that preview view where that's where he was editing. But when you're not live, the whole window is just your editing screen. So just keep that in mind, that if you log into the editor and you're not sure why you don't see two screens, it's simply because you're not live, and we designed it that way. So that way, when you do have a screen live, you can go ahead and edit your previous screen without interrupting the live viewing experience, making sure that everything is aligned, making sure everything is great. I'll give you the ability to, just like Elad was right now, if that was a scene that needed to be made because, hey, we're bringing on a guest, we weren't planning on it. Elad, really quickly, go ahead and make us a scene for 3 people so we can go ahead and transition live. It'll happen seamlessly behind the scenes without you having to stop to be able to move. Elad can just put me on screen by myself. He can go backstage, make those edits, and then push it live. And it just happens in a moment, just when you understand how to utilize the editor. So appreciate you, Joe, for bringing that to our attention.
Add to that just one note about it, one comment. If you have only dynamic scene and you don't have any pro scenes at all in this session,
Correct.
then even if you go live or start recording, the screen won't be splitted, because
Correct.
anyways all your edits will be on the fly on a dynamic scene. But once you have at least one pro scene, then when you go live, the screen will be splitted, so you can edit things on the left side and it doesn't affect the right side. And when you want to do a transition, you do a transition. We have a lot of videos on that in YouTube. Encourage all of you, go to our YouTube channel to see. Very, very helpful, useful features. I think the first impression people get on Evmux, this is the most like amazing thing they get. Like, wow.
Yeah.
Preview and live. Preview
Yep.
and live. That's great.
It's huge. It's huge. So we have a question here. Student of the word. Thank you so much. You're welcome. Mike, a game killer, says, I have a question. Have to continue to upload my live background. Is there a way to save it from stream to stream in different studios?
Yeah.
So go ahead. You can answer that question.
Yeah, great question. So think about it like that. Again, in Evmux, we have kind of levels. Okay, so you have the account level, and then within your account, you can create different projects. And within each project, you can create different sessions. Okay, why we did that? Because think of an event that you have multiple sessions within the event. Okay, and not only one session. Okay. But assuming, let's take the town hall as a great example. We go every week at the same time, almost is exactly the same, small tweaks here and there. We change maybe the topic, we change the video that we are playing, but all the layout, all the designs are exactly the same. So what we do, we basically reuse the same session again and again and again. We only change the broadcasting channel, not even the broadcasting channel, but the post to the channel. Like the post to LinkedIn, the post to YouTube, the post to Facebook is being changed, but the design is totally the same. So we don't have to re-upload everything. It's there. We just do some changes to the text, which takes us 3 minutes maybe. So reusing the sessions is amazing. Another thing worth mentioning, within the same project, if you create now another session, all the media files you uploaded to the first session, videos, backgrounds, etc., they will be available for you to add them to new scenes. So you don't have to re-upload them, but you do have to recreate the scenes if needed. Okay? So it's all about what you're trying to achieve. If you go weekly with kind of exactly the same thing, just reuse the same session and do the tweaks here and there. It's amazing.
Yeah, I love that. Love that. And then we have a question here from Hypegrass that says, when I invite speakers, they click on the invite link from their email inbox, but then when they're entering the same email address to join the live room, it says invalid email address, very frustrating, help. So this is a pretty easy fix that you can start doing today. You're going to get that error message if you haven't assigned the speaker to an actual session. So what ultimately happens is that it does seem like it's an extra step, but it's a more of a precautionary step to ensure that that speaker is assigned to the correct session. So to be able to kind of correct this, what you want to do is that when you invite that speaker, they're going to get access to it. And then what the system is saying is like invalid email because we don't know what session to assign them to. So they may be a speaker, but you haven't assigned them to a session. So what you want to do is wherever session you want that speaker to be a part of, you want to go to that session and you want to add them as a speaker. I think this is a great opportunity to, I was going to say, share your screen to be able to showcase that. How do you actually do this? So first showcase, how do you even invite a speaker? I think we should show that first. That's the first step, right? So you see on the left-hand side inside your dashboard, you're going to go to where it says speaker and it's going to say add speaker. That's step number 1. Once you click that, it's going to give you, ask for the information. You input that in there, hit save. It sends an invite. Okay. Now what you need to do is while they have that invite, once they accept it, you come here to your sessions and now you see how we have multiple sessions. The system doesn't know which one you want them to have access to. If they're a co-producer, then they're going to have access to all sessions. But as a speaker, the system wants to know which session are you trying to add them to. So let's say, for example, you click on the town hall. Now you click on the session you want, and it's going to say, you're going to see a little drop-down menu that says Now you type in the email address or the name of that speaker. Now you add them to the session. And now when they go to log in and put in their email, the system's automatically going to bring them into the session, alleviating that issue. So it's nothing you're doing wrong on your part. It's nothing wrong with the Evmux software. There's just one additional step that needs to happen to be able to assign that speaker to that session, and that should resolve that issue for you without any problem. So go ahead. Anything you add?
Yeah. I think you just described
Okay,
it exactly
perfect.
as this. We understand that it's
Yeah.
a bit confusing sometimes,
Right.
and this is also something we are going to improve, that within the studio you will be able to assign speakers to the
Right.
sessions. But just think about it. We want also to prevent mistakes, because
Right.
we might have a project, an event with multiple sessions, and then Anthony speaks only in one or two of those. We don't want Anthony to be able to join other sessions, not to confuse him and not to confuse others, and not to confuse the producer that by mistake put Anthony on stage on the wrong session, right? So that's why we do this thing. It's very helpful for producers, but I agree that the assigning to the session process should be more polished. We're working on it, but it is definitely doable within the dashboard as we just showed.
Agree. And then we have a question here from Susan. Will they be able to share their screen? 100% yes. As a speaker right now, I can go ahead and share my screen. It doesn't automatically go live. If you're live streaming, it doesn't automatically push that screen live. What it does is that when the speaker selects to share their screen, it pushes it to the producer. The producer can then validate and say, okay, this is right. I can share this. And then they can push it live. But the speaker does have access to be able to share a video and to be able to share their screen.
I think that's a great point, because, on Zoom or any other tools like that, when you share your screen, right?
It goes up,
and then when you are live streaming or recording or things like that, if someone shares but not on the right window, it's not in full screen, then it's like this hassle of, okay, let me just a second, let me do this, let me do that. It's not the best experience, right? And not very professional. What you can do in Evmux, which is very nice, the speaker is sharing the screen. You as the producer, you see the share screen feed. Okay, you can approve that it looks good. If not, you can push to talk to the speaker backstage and tell them, hey, I don't see it clearly, please do this, please do that, whatever you need. And then only once it's ready, you can give them the thumbs up. Okay, it's ready, and I'm going to push it or not. You can do it even half an hour before you go live, right? So whenever. But in terms of preparation, that's extremely helpful to make sure that when you are live and when you really do the transition, it's flawless, right?
Right. I love that. That's also something good to be able to know. So we'll go ahead and take a few more questions, and then we'll go ahead and, like I said, if any time your question is missed, always feel free to come into the Facebook group, drop the question in there. Myself and Alada, we jump in there a few minutes after the town hall to just maybe catch up on any messages. But it's a great opportunity to be able to go ahead and share that. So we'll take maybe 2 or 3 more questions here, and then we'll go ahead and get into some closing statements. So I got a question here from Grandma Joe. Says, I am in Dynamic, and the ticker is working at the bottom, but I am in graphics and trying to load that background you spoke about, not loading. So I'm seeing a gray with your circle. Okay, so Dynamic and the Pro scenes are going to be completely different. So what you want to do is, if you're trying to do something custom, you want to get outside of Dynamic, not add the background there. You actually want to add the background in the Pro Scene slide that you're trying to go ahead and edit. So for you, Grandma Joe, since we've had several meetings already, I kind of understand what you're trying to accomplish. So what I want you to get used to is not using Dynamic, right? I want you to just kind of almost sense, because I know your scenario. I'm not telling everyone to just forget about Dynamic, but for your perfect scenario, don't even think about dynamic scenes, right? Just utilize the Pro scenes, because everything you try to create is custom. And so that background you're trying to add, you're adding it to Dynamic, and it's not going to come up in the Pro scenes. They don't mix well together. They're 2 individual features inside of the editor. So what you're trying to do right now, just do it inside of a Pro scene, and I guarantee you that you'll be able to add the background and everything will look totally fine. So, but just use Pro scenes to be able to do that. So we have another question here from Imagine Studios. It says, is there a way to not zoom in on a guest